Hey guys, and welcome back to Minecraft Hardcore in the Snapshots. In this episode, I'm looking up because I don't look at any Enderman, and this is actually the final episode in our series. We've literally just defeated the Ender Dragon, and we're now going to jump back into the portal to the overworld and look at the 1.18 generation one last time and enjoy all that that can offer. So let's jump in 3, 2, 1, go! And we're about to go to the credit scenes here, but I'm not too interested into listening to that, so I'm just going to press escape and skip that. And hopefully we've set our spawn points. Oh dear, we have not, and there's also an Enderman there. Well, good thing I have a bed, because I'm just going to sleep. I don't know if Gemma has a bed with her or not, but if she does, hopefully we can sleep through the night there. And here we are sleeping through the night. And in the morning, I do think we have gone to the spawn point of the world. It all seems like some Endermen have gone through there. But I thought now that we're at the spawn point here, we may as well boat off into the ocean here and maybe just to kind of explore the... Well, I think it looks like actually the Ender Dragon XP, some of that went through the portal as well. But if you want to just jump in the boat here, then we can actually just kind of explore the 1.18 generation terrain in our last episode here. And they may be asking why I'm ending the series, and just because this series is made in one of the snapshots that's not upgradable to the newest version, and it's also a lot of the generation is now quite old, but of course as we travel in this direction it'll be the new generation. In fact, I think you can see a bit of a chunk border over there. But either way, I just want to kind of take a look at what the 1.18 generation is, as it has changed a lot every single snapshot. Not sure if you guys have noticed this or not either, but I found that the oceans seem to be a bit shallower in 1.18. It seems like they're generating a lot shallower, like even the deep ocean I found never really gets past maybe 25 blocks deep. I'm not really sure why this is, but it does seem to happen a lot. Like even over here you can see there's no island near there, but the ocean goes almost right up to the surface, so that could be maybe an intended feature or just a glitch of the new generation. But it does seem like the ocean is generating quite low, so we actually have a shipwreck there, which is kind of cool. And I think that might be a desert or possibly a bit of beach over there. We may as well travel over here. But yeah, just kind of cool to see where Minecraft is going in terms of the generation. You know, there's some interesting things we'll see, like stuff like this, where there's actually no beach there to kind of, you know, have a bridge the gap between the ocean and the land. There's now a lot of generation we have when there really isn't a beach to divide it. But here we are at some of the new generation, and we can kind of explore that and enjoy what that has to offer, as well as the largest island ever in Minecraft, which is of course one sand block there. But it's interesting, we also have these massive ravines that tend to really be generating a lot in the new ocean, as well as parts of ocean like this that don't seem to be generating with any kelp. In fact, I think this is actually a taiga biome right here, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think what it is the biome blend is so large, that is to say that the area between the biomes, it's different, so that they kind of look separate from each other, and they kind of blend in a way that, you know, isn't really jarring. I think that's gotten a lot bigger in 1.18, and because of that, it's kind of, you know, biome borders and things like that are a bit wider. Now, there's weird stuff like this too, or this is a beach, but it's a super big beach here, and it's definitely kind of an odd thing. But either way, it looks like we're kind of on maybe an island, I'm not really sure, but we can kind of just explore into the taiga here and just kind of see what we have to see here. I think we're going due north, which is interesting, but there is some really interesting terrain around here to kind of explore. I've heard from some of the developers' tweets and things like this online that they say the generation is now probably just going to stay the way it is. So what we're exploring now is most likely, you know, 95% the same as we're going to see in the update, which is really cool. It's also kind of cool as well because when the developers, you know, make the new world generation, even they don't really know exactly what it's all going to entail. So it's kind of cool to explore it and kind of see all the new features, infinite features that we can see with every little change they've done so far. Something I'm glad about too, just looking at this terrain and comparing it to some of the previous versions of the terrain we had before, is the fact that even things like this taiga here, they do tend to be quite flat, which is a good thing, because something we kind of noticed when we were first on this world and also worlds before this is that it seemed like in the first couple experimental snapshots with the terrain generation, there were so many mountains, like probably 70% of the world was mountains in the sense of, you know, high terrain and just stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting, but overall just really, you know, nice to see that the terrain has really flattened out a lot. but also still has some nice peaks, some nice cliffs, and really just some cool stuff. And of course, you know, there's a lot of generation that, although it looks similar to the new update, like right here, I would say looks pretty similar to the old update, that is. We also have places like this beach here, where it's generating nothing like you would see in the old generation, like 1.17 to 1.7 was when the current world generation system was adopted, which was a long time ago. I think that was back around 2013, maybe late 2013, potentially 2014. But we'll see stuff like this where, for instance, we have these super wide beaches, which is cool. And what I like about these really wide beaches is, although they look like, okay, it's kind of cool to have a wide beach, but in 1.17, all you'd really see in terms of beaches is things like these really thin strips of sand around all the edges of ocean. But in something like this is often reminds me of, you know, the beta days of Minecraft beta 1.8 and all that, where basically you would have mostly the Minecraft world would basically be like it kind of looks like right here, where you basically just have huge amounts of forest biome and beach, and that was basically all it was, with kind of water around. But like a huge ocean like this is cool because, or a huge beach like this is cool because you really just would not see that in Minecraft 1.17, just at any seed anywhere really. And it's just cool to see that because, you know, places in the world have massive beaches, and then you can also have a good location for sand. Other interesting thing I've seen as well, I saw these drop-offs here where there's like no beach, which is pretty realistic, but kind of odd, is we have places like that. And what's kind of interesting about it is, like over here, oh, I think I just punched you there, Gemma, sorry. Places like over here, we have it so, you know, if you look, the terrain actually is the exact same above the water as it is below. That is to say, the world generation engine seems to be making the terrain before it puts in the water. So it kind of gives us this cool effect where, you know, before 1.18's generation like this, basically it always looked like, you know, once you got below the ocean, it's like the entire terrain generation engine kind of just changed. So, you know, it'd look a lot different, to the point where, you know, everything, you know, would just be like a completely different generation below the water. But here it really kind of smooths out well, so it kind of looks like, you know, first the land was there, then the water kind of went up to the level that it is now, which is pretty cool. Looks like we actually have some really cool icebergs there, and it's cool to see the, you know, the biomes still generating roughly how they would, but just the actual shape of the terrain and the size of the biomes to be different. And I think that's nice because, you know, of course you want to have Minecraft's terrain stay similar to how it was in terms of the biomes, but it's also nice to see that the actual shape of the size of the biomes is different. We still have the classic look of the biomes, like this taiga here looks exactly like something you would see in any other version, but of course it's not, because it's generating a lot differently. Now I see something pretty cool over here, which is a bit of a mega taiga, and that actually brings me on to one other point about the generation I found, which is that the Minecraft generation, especially regarding what I call main biome groups. So basically when you look at Minecraft seeds, each biome tends to generate in groups, but in one like the mega taiga, what you usually find is just large sections of mega taiga bounded by a very thin edge of taiga that would kind of generate infrequently in a world, something like this. So what's kind of interesting that we can see here is this mega taiga may look like this from here, but eventually we'll see it's actually not quite like this. And I think this is a snowy beach, which is a good biome to have. But what's interesting is if we kind of go into the mega taiga here, and you can see this mega taiga is generating as a cold biome because it's bordering the snowy beach there. Kind of go into the mega taiga here, you'll notice it's actually a lot more mixed up with the normal taiga. It's a lot smaller. That is to say, it's not generating its own biome group, so you'll basically not be seeing, you know, massive mega taigas anymore, which is kind of interesting. You know, you can see there's an edge of the mega taiga right there, and if we kind of go over here, there's still definitely some mega taiga, but it's kind of generating, you know, less like a massive, you know, just, you know, let's say 2000 by 2000 block area of mega taiga, and more so of patches of mega taiga within this cold biome. And I'm not really sure which system is better or which one's more realistic. You know, biomes in Minecraft are quite small as is, but just kind of interesting to see that. And actually just right over here, it's cool to see this huge cave ravine right down. That's just super cool to see that. Just super awesome. But either way, we can kind of see over here, there's like some slope ways that it's generating. So now what's kind of happening with the terrain is at a certain height levels, you'll see biomes generate, and you can actually see that here because the mega taiga is cut in half there. You can kind of see like off the slope here, it kind of goes lower, and then there's the kind of the height level where the mega taiga is, and then it gets lower to the beach there as if it gets a little bit warmer in a way. We also have places like this big bald mountain here because it's not a mountain, it's actually a plains biome, which is kind of humorous because, you know, it's a plains biome, but it's a massive hill. But of course in real life, you know, that's pretty realistic. You know, hills generate in all different types of biomes, and, you know, the way that plants plants grow. It doesn't really have much to do with the elevation. I mean, of course it does, but, you know, not to small variances like this so much. So I think just about bedtime again. But it's cool too because, and something I'll show in about a second here, is ways that the rivers have been generating differently. And that's actually going to affect the world a lot, but it's really cool to see. So if we just break this here, we can take a look over here at this, and this is actually a really good example of the new way that rivers are generating. The biome blend is also kind of interesting here, but either way, so there's the big mountain there, and of course, again, you might see that in Survival 1.17 and before. I have seen things similar to that, maybe a little bit shallower, but it's a bit rarer. So over here, we can see this is what kind of almost looks like a watery ravine, and it kind of is in parts actually. In fact, it totally is. But in this part here, it's going to cross across this little short area here. You can see it's actually a bit of a river biome here. So this really wide area here, and up there next to that kind of really steep forest area is actually just a super wide river biome, which is cool. Now, of course, right under it does generate these two massive ravines that are underwater flooded, but it is still interesting to see that, you know, even disregarding these ravines, we can see right over here that the river's radius is absolutely huge. So you can see here, this really shows it off, and it's actually crazy to think that this is the way that Minecraft's terrain generation is generating now. But if I go over to about here, we can see this is around here. So this is about -820, and if I was just going to walk kind of over here, I'm not going to go over the whole distance, but just estimating from here to here could be 50 blocks across or more, and this is completely a river biome. So you can just see rivers are just generating huge, which is really cool to see because in real life, most rivers are quite large. Well, not most, but a lot of rivers are quite large. But I like it how in Minecraft now there's a lot of variance between small rivers and super, super crazy, like, you know, Amazon River kind of wide rivers like this here, which is just a huge river here. And it'd actually be really cool to see, you know, like, for instance, a sea that is, you know, a giant jungle biome with a massive river going through it like the Amazon. But either way, it does also seem like, again, like I was saying before, even with the water here, you see the terrain right under it does really generate nicely. Like, it doesn't really cut off into a different generation when we get to the river, and I just cannot believe this is all one river biome. Crazy stuff will generate too, like just over here we can see those mountains there, again, all just plains biomes. Like I think that's a sunflower plains, and that's a normal plains, and those are mountains, you know, just huge mountains. It's like taller than an extreme hills usually would be, and I'm not sure if I can actually get up this hill or not. Maybe we'll boat down this like Amazon like river here, but I think I have some wood on me if Gemma doesn't have the boat still. But it's just crazy because, you know, something like this just is so completely opposite to what Minecraft's terrain generation is usually like, that it's just really cool to see this actually what vanilla Minecraft will look like now. So yeah, we can basically do that. And if I just grab into the boat here, and then we get into the boat here, we can kind of go down this massive river. And yeah, that is actually literally just a plains biome. It's crazy to see that. We can kind of just keep boating along here. Again, this is all just a river biome. This is just a river biome. I'm sure this is, you know, very much near the upper limit of how wide a river biome could get, but it's just crazy to see this kind of wide generation. But I like it too because, you know, at first when these first snapshots came out, and I was quite worried because, you know, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it's just crazy the way this is generated. You know, how in the world will this Minecraft even be playable with everything just being these massive mountains? But it really ended up not being the case. Because basically what ends up happening, and this is even the case, and we can see an instance of this right here, although we do sometimes get crazy generation like these mountains here and these massive rivers here, it's still very much possible and usually the case that you'll basically just see, you know, general, you know, normal terrain generation too. Like over here, this plains biome was completely average, if not maybe even a bit flatter than average. And this mountain biome here, although it's a bit of a hill, isn't ridiculous, you know, so it's pretty cool. I mean, I'd say again, you know, crazy mountains like this probably are maybe a quarter, if not even less of the terrain. So really, I think it just created a really cool kind of portrait of more so of what real life is like as well within Minecraft. And you can even see like a crazy big mountain over there. But yeah, overall, just all this terrain is just really exciting to see, and I'm hoping that in the new update we can really just enjoy this for all it is, and kind of have Minecraft's terrain be, you know, the strongest feature of the entire game. Anyway, that's the end of this entire series. Yes, this is hardcore, so technically... Oh, sorry. I'm sorry about that, Gem. I did not mean to punch you. I was waving. Anyway, you know, of course, Minecraft's terrain generation is a big feature of the game, and of course in Minecraft Hardcore, most people do end the series when they die, but we don't want to die, and we have, survived this long, defeated the Ender Dragon, done a pretty good job, I think. So here we go. If you guys enjoyed the series, make sure to press the like button. If this is the first part of the series you've watched, make sure to check out all the parts before this, or just check out some of the parts you've missed. It's a pretty cool series if I do say so myself. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, all these things that help my channel and this video, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.